Have you been feeling a strange, persistent pull lately, like a call to understand the hidden, deeper currents of your life and the world around you? Well, if so, you're absolutely in the right place. In today's explainer, I'm not just your host, I'm stepping into the role of your mentor. We are embarking on an initiatory journey together to map out the deepest archetypal facets of your soul, using a really groundbreaking framework from the School of Modern Soul Science. Prepare yourself, because we're going to uncover exactly how ancient spiritual roles are actively waking up inside you right this very moment. But before we dive in, we really need to heed this warning from the source text. It literally says, "Warning, high voltage." The information contained here has the power to activate latent, subconscious energy, with a dangerous tendency to inspire delusions of grandeur. Wow, right? Look, this isn't just some dramatic disclaimer. The text makes it abundantly clear that we are dealing with volatile, inherently magical, and catalyzing energy. As your mentor, I must insist that you proceed with absolute humility and respect. We are learning to handle fire here. Let your ego take the reins, and you'll get burned. But approach this with reverence, it will completely transform you.
Section 1. Awakening the Shamanic Archetype. Okay, let's get into this. Why are you here? Why are so many people across the globe suddenly experiencing this profound call to start an initiatory journey?
To get this, we first need to wrap our heads around what archetypes actually are. Basically, they're universal, primal patterns built right into the human psyche. And the shamanic archetype specifically, it's a self-healing response bubbling up directly from our collective unconscious. Look, humanity is obviously facing a massive global crisis right now. Our collective ego kind of needs to die so our collective higher self can emerge. It's that classic death and rebirth cycle. So this archetype isn't some dusty ancient relic, it's an active universal survival mechanism rising up to guide us through this. You are feeling the call because, quite frankly, the world needs your awakened soul.
Section 2. The 25 Archetypal Facets. So how does all this energy actually show up in real life? The collective unconscious resonates in splendidly diverse ways.
Just look at the sheer breadth of these 25 facets. I mean, it's incredible. You've got the psychopomp guiding souls, the technician of dreamtime, the Promethean scientist, and the visionary artist. This represents the amazingly varied ways the single universal archetype comes to life across all cultures. Now, don't worry, you aren't meant to be all 25 of these. Nobody is. Instead, you carry a unique constellation of these facets. Some of them are quietly humming away in your subconscious, while others, they're probably screaming for your attention.
To put this into perspective, let's look at how two very different facets operate today. Take the wounded healer. For this facet, the call usually arrives through severe illness, trauma, or a major life crisis. The actual self-healing process, doing your own soul retrieval, is the initiation. We see this all the time with psychotherapists or addiction counselors who use their own transformed pain as medicine for others. Now flip the script and look at the trickster. This is the sacred clown, the ultimate shapeshifter. If you carry this facet, your modern application might look like disruptive activism, sharp satire, or provocative comedy, pointing out society's absurdities to force a shift in perspective. Same shamanic current, entirely different application.
Section 3. Mapping your soul's constellation. Now it's time to use all of this knowledge as a sort of magical mirror to locate your own unique center of power.
So here is the exact 3-step method from the workbook to figure out which shamanic facets are influencing your personal growth right now. Step 1, you evaluate and score yourself on all 25 facets using the self-identification questions. Super straightforward. Step 2, you find your nucleus. Now the core of this nucleus will always be the twice-born facet. That's the part of you that has already gone through an initiatory death and spiritual rebirth. And finally, step 3, you identify your formative and empowering orbits.
Think of the architecture of your psyche, kind of like a solar system. Right at the very center, you have the nucleus. This is that twice-born singularity point where your subconscious meets your conscious ego. Surrounding that is your formative orbit. These are the facets that translate raw archetypal energy into actual form. They are your inner guides. And then, out on the outer ring, is the empowering orbit. These are your inter-soul mediators. They act like magnets, connecting your soul to other souls out in the culture. Basically, this whole map shows exactly how you pull inspiration in and how you push healing out.
Section 4. Art, Story, and Healing. Let's shift gears and see how this builds into real-world action. How do we actually express these awakened archetypes?
As your mentor here, I really want you to see the profound difference between simply making art and actually performing a shamanic function through your art. Take the storyteller. They are literally the keeper of sacred history. Their job is to journey into the spiritual realms and bring back a myth or story that our culture desperately needs right now. On the flip side, we have the visionary artist. Their function is to record humanity's ever-evolving relationship with magic and spirit. If you hold these facets, your modern application is drawing, writing, or directing content inspired directly from dreamtime or trance states. You are literally encoding wisdom into a new mythology.
Section 5. Daily Habits and Workshops. Okay, we need to ground these mystical teachings into reality, because high-voltage energy requires a disciplined container.
Because look, if you're going to bear the weight of these spiritual roles, you might need to integrate the daily habits of the ascetic facet. And let's be clear, this isn't about punishing yourself. It's entirely about cultivating spiritual purity and willpower. The source outlines some pretty strict disciplines: waking up at sunrise to pray or meditate, practicing rigorous physical routines like yoga, maintaining a strict vegetarian or vegan diet, and consciously refraining from negative, angry, or lustful thoughts. The ascetic deliberately pushes past their limits to safely channel all this intense archetypal energy.
So how do we take all that disciplined energy and actually use it to heal others? Well, here is a structured workshop session where you can practice combining the facilitator, the master of ceremonies, with the psychopump, the guide of souls. Step 1, call a circle and set a really clear spiritual intention for the gathering. Step 2, acting as that psychopump, you guide your patients down into the subconscious underworld. Step 3, this is where you carry out the vital work of soul retrieval, extracting illness and reintegrating fragmented parts of the psyche. And finally, step 4, you safely mediate their return and close the sacred space. It's an incredible way to orchestrate collective transformation.
We have covered a lot of ground today, Seeker. We've looked at the global crisis calling you forward, mapped the facets of your soul, and given you the tools to ground and express this immense energy. But this knowledge really means nothing without action. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative question. Now that you're holding this mirror up to your soul, how will you use your unique constellation of awakened facets to heal your corner of the world? The archetype is awake inside you. What happens next is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep seeking, and I'll catch you next time.